Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Hey, good evening. Good evening. I'm going to wait a second. Hey, Av. How are you? I'm going to wait a few more seconds for IG. So I sort of figured out um, this whole live stream on Facebook because now I can see my comments and I'm really excited about that. And I was playing around a little bit and schedule the live stream. All right. Um, and so that's what I did, but I didn't really do it with Instagram. Anyway, um, if you see me, just a disclaimer, if you see me looking back and forth, I go live simultaneously on Instagram and Facebook so that my audiences on both platforms can, I don't have to do it all over again. I remember those days when I had to do that. It was such a pain. It was such a pain, but thank God for technology and that I have evolved. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. Um, I am here all week up until tomorrow. So, I've done a live stream Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday. And so, if this is the first time that you're joining me, please feel free to go back. The replays are there um, for some great training content. I'm just making sure um, my audio is up on Instagram. So let me get into it. My name is Waveney. I am a leadership coach and I help new managers develop leadership influence by mastering their relationships at work. Yes, it's a mouthful. Basically, what I do is I work with new managers and help them uh, leverage their communication skills, get great at that, develop that, and develop their work relationships because those two things are really important and they are foundational, right? When you are if you are a leader, okay, whether you are in your church group, choir, if you work for a nonprofit, if you work for yourself, you're leading people, you'll never get away with that. And so it's important that you learn how to manage relationships, and it's important that you learn how to communicate in a meaningful way that persons understand, but not just understand, so that you can have influence, right? And just make a difference in whatever it is you choose to do. And tonight I want to speak about the job of something that you can do now. And my title in my topic tonight is the job of every great leader. And I want to open with a quote that says, and it's from what's his name? I'm thinking Malcolm X, not Malcolm X. Martin Luther King that says everybody can be great because everybody can serve. Everybody can serve, right? And sometimes we feel that we have to be in these big, grand positions or title to be able to serve. And that's not necessarily the case, right? We can serve where we're at. But tonight, specifically, I'm speaking to people are in who are new in the management arena, they're new to leadership, or even if you're thinking about you want to progress in your career and you want to be a manager, you want to be a leader someday. This this will help you. Let me close this tab. This will help you. These series will help you, right? And so the job, and I'm going to speak very big picture, the job of what is the job of every great leader? And it is really to be of service. It's really to be of service. Last night, I spoke about focus, what new managers need to focus on, right? We get into roles and we're scared because it's new. It's either a new it's new, the position is new, but sometimes the organization is new, the team is new, and so we don't know what we don't know. We are all over the place. We don't know what to focus on. And so I would encourage you to go back and listen to the replay from last night. So let me get into the meat of it. So, and if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes so I don't forget anything. So people, when they get into management, when we get into management, we think about most of the time the perks, right? Sometimes we think about the perks, we think about the fact that, oh my God, I have achieved this milestone. I've always wanted this, I've worked towards it. Or sometimes we kind of stumble into leadership, right? We, you know, we didn't know that we wanted this. And so we kind of stumbled into it. We've achieved our goals. It's something that we want. Sometimes we're encouraged to get the job. But many times, most of the times, people don't stop to think about the fact that they're going to manage people. They don't, they underestimate how much of the people element is involved in being a leader. All right. Everybody know, yeah, if you're a manager, I have a team or I have a boss, I have peers within my organization. But people don't really stop to think about, hey, I'm going to have all these types of situations. I now have people looking up to me. I now have people reporting to me, and they underestimate just how much of their um, their job is very peoply, right? The people element, the people aspect of it, right? And I lost my train of thought. I wanted to say something, but I'll get back to that. And because we don't think about it, we don't realize that our work, and I'm going to say this until I die, your work is done through people. Your success comes through the people that you work with. Whether you are leading a team, it is not just the team effort, your boss, your peers, your work is done through people. Your success comes through people, and we don't stop to think about it. So when the fact that there is such a huge people element, and if what I'm saying, if you agreed with what I just said, then just put an emoji in the comments so I know that you are with me, you're on the same wavelength with me. And because we discount the fact that we manage people so well, we have that much impact or that much uh what do you call it, the people aspect is there, we neglect certain things. And tonight I want to share with you something that you need to think about, something, thank you Erica, something that you can use, something to make you aware of, and you can use these tips when you are managing people. And again, even if you're not in a leadership role at this time and you want to get into it, you can start the practice and you can start the habit, because you can't wait until you get into leadership to act like a manager and to act that way. It's going to be very difficult for you. Many of us we sort of got thrown into it, and there were certain habits that we didn't kind of course correct or adjust, but you cannot wait until you get there to do that. My internet connection seems to be bad. So I'm going to keep going. So if you're on Facebook and it sort of spaces out, the replay will be up afterwards and you should be fine. And so because people is involved, we need to understand one important thing. We need to be able to connect with people. We need to factor in connection as an important element of our communication. And the people that we work with, whether directly or indirectly, they have lives, they are human beings, um, they have things going on just like you. And for us to really move the needle forward, we need to connect with them in a real way. We need to connect with them and not just communicate, because you can communicate, you can articulate, you can, use the best language, the best grammar, you could be the best speaker in the world, but unless you spend the time connecting with others, you are not going to get very far. All right, there's sometimes, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, or you've been around or heard people say, but have you ever been in a situation where you're speaking to someone and they just seem empty? There's something about the conversation that seems empty, that seems shallow, it just seems like a show. And that is because if you've experienced that, let me know. You could put a Y in the comments for yes. Even if you're catching the replay, you can do that. But the reason why it feels so empty and shallow is because they're not connecting with you. They're communicating with you. You're understanding what they're saying. They're not being unprofessional, but something is missing. And that's something, thank you. There was somebody on Insta that typed yes, Wi-Fi yes. And that something is a human part of it. That something is a human element. That something is connection. And so in our communication, we need to have that connection with others. It's very important. And uh it's a great skill and a great attitude to build. All right. And so we as leaders, we have to be communicating so many things on a different basis with so many different persons, right? You have to be communicating with your boss. You have to be what we call managing up. And we call it managing up if you've never heard it term, because you report up to that person. And so you have to manage up. You have to manage that relationship with your boss. I mean, anybody, if you are in a situation right now that you have a boss that you really don't like, and it is known, and that could be very uncomfortable for you, right? And so you don't have to like people, right? But you have to work with them, and it's in your best interest as an influential leader to make that relationship work, right? So you have to learn to manage up, even with bosses with difficult personalities. Because one of the things, and I'm kind of veering a little off topic, one of the things I usually tell people is you can't keep running from the same issue. Many times I have conversations with persons, and they want to quit. They want to quit because they don't like their boss, they don't like this, they don't like that. And my thing is this: I'm not advocating for persons to remain in a toxic work environment, to even tolerate disrespect, right? Um, but what I'm saying is, people are people. Anywhere you go, you're going to meet people that are difficult. Maybe in this environment, it's your boss. In the next environment, it'll be somebody on your team. And you have to learn how to manage that relationship. Okay. You have to learn to manage that relationship. It's not easy, but it is worth um, learning. That's a skill that you need to learn. Right. And so you need to manage up, you need to manage the team. You need to manage the people within your peers, within your organization. You're going to need the people in accounting. You're going to, I don't know why I keep using accounting, but they're important, right? They're important. You need to to be friends or manage. Let me not use the word friends. Sorry. You need to manage that relationship with your peers in sales, right? You're going to be communicating changes, right? And with everything that's going on, there might be uncomfortable changes that you are communicating. Okay, you may be the one, depending on your organization setup, you may be the one who has to tell someone that they no longer have a job, right? How are you going to do that, right? How are you going to communicate that? Hi, Veronica. You may be communicating a change that you know will upset the team. Are you going to do what we call third party management and throw your senior leaders under the bus? You know, people do that. It's like, it's not me, it's them. Well, we can't do that, right? It doesn't really speak well. It's not a habit that you should really practice. And if you're doing that, stop it. Okay, because if you're in management, we are all in this together. That's how it works. Okay, and so you're communicating changes, uncomfortable changes. You have to give constructive feedback, right? Sometimes to your best performer, sometimes to that one person on the team who does an amazing job, but they can't work with the people on the team, or maybe they get along with the people on the team, but they don't get along with the people in the other departments. They want to do what they want to do. Okay, somebody on Instagram posed a question. They said, what if it's a situation where your boss is intimidated by you and he or she makes your work or status complicated? Then how would you deal with that situation? So I'm going to give a broad answer because each situation is different. Um, I'm going to use a term that my mother always used to me. She always said, you need to learn wisdom. And the reason I start off with that first, because you need to understand, and I said it last night, right? That's true. Your bosses can be bullies at times. Um, I said it last night when I was speaking about focus, and I would suggest you go back to it. A lot of the times we go in with guns blazing. We go into an organization with guns blazing. We don't ask the right questions. We don't get to know the culture of the organization. And I'm not saying that we can know all things, but we don't understand the culture of the organization for which we are working. A lot of people put stock on pay, how much they're going to pay me. I sit in a lot of interviews and people don't ask the right questions. They don't ask about the culture. They don't ask about the team. And so you have to understand the culture of a place, right? And so you go into that situation and you have a boss. And sometimes when this is where the wisdom comes in, if you are aware, you have to be aware. You have to understand what's going on, right? Especially with that boss. So if I had a boss that is was intimidated by me, I would do some backing off. Maybe that person wants to look good. That's a need for them, right? And I would be strategic in that. I would show that person I'm working with you, right? But sometimes, and I'm not saying that this is your particular case, right? But sometimes we know that somebody is intimidated by us or they feel uncomfortable, and we still go ahead and we do certain things. For example, we know this person is intimidated by us. We may be right. We may be absolutely right in that we want to say for example, there's an email we need to send or something we need to do. If I knew that my boss was intimidated, I would go to them and say, hey, I have to do this. What do you think about it? I would play that game. All right. I would use that avenue. It takes a lot, but then the other side of it is you need to assess the situation. You need to assess where you want to go in your career, right? Is this a stepping stone for you? How important is this role in your career? Is this something that you could let play out and try to build a better relationship with this person? Is this person someone that you can say, listen, I recognize when I do this, you do that. Is there something going on? Is there, I realize there's friction. Is that person somebody that you could approach? Like all of these things. That's why I say I have to answer with a broad brush. It depends on your particular situation. Let me know if this makes sense for you, sweetie, right? Let me know if this makes sense. So that question, it depends on the person, it depends on the organization. If you are just going to, if that is just a stepping stone for you and you're just there because, okay, you need to get from A to B and there is career progression, then I might pick and choose how to address the situation. Does that make sense? I am not saying though if it's ridiculous and a person is a bully and disrespectful that you need to share your concern with them, but there is a way to do it. Okay. So it's situational. Let me know if this helped. You can always send me a DM after, but that you have to approach situations with wisdom because leadership is very situational. You cannot you cannot paint everything with the same brush. And I don't know if many of you may know, some of you on the stream may know me. My background is in human resources, and I can tell you, as someone who has been in human resources for over 13 years, a senior leader, by day I am a director of human resources, but the people's brand is my passion project. It's my purpose. Okay, because I get to do how I want to do things within the context of the people's brand, and I get to help people on a different level within my business. But as a senior HR professional, I can tell you leadership is very situational. You can't paint everything with the same brush. You need to ask questions because you need to get context around that. And Shimi, bosses who are bullies, they're just that's a fear. That's something that's driven by fear. Intimidation is something that is driven by fear, and it's a mindset in scarcity. It is a mindset in thinking that I am not worthy, I don't have what it takes, this person is going to take away from my shine. And that is why I teach what I teach within my coaching program. This is why I'm doing this because your mindset needs to change as a leader. And everybody, I feel like everybody can lead. Everybody is not born a leader, but everybody can lead. They just need to put in the work. But a lot of people get into management because it's a title for them or the perks for them, and they don't care about people. Well, the people at the people's brand, um, we want to make a difference. You're ambitious, you're driven, and you want to make a difference and leave a legacy. All right. So I'm getting back on topic now. We communicate so many things. I was saying we have to give persons constructive feedback. Okay. And it could be our star performer, or it could be someone who's not performing well on the team. And not because somebody is not performing well, it doesn't mean that we should be disrespectful. It doesn't mean we should make them feel badly about it, but there's a way to craft that message, right? And so, connection, the elements of connecting with someone, there are a few things. One is empathy. We have to use empathy. We have to put ourselves in other people's shoes. We have to remember that we were once someone new coming into an organization and afraid to make mistakes or have other things going on. There's something right now, that a term that they're using. I don't know if you've seen it all over the news, but they're calling it the Great Resignation. And they're calling it that because people are resigning at such a massive rate, right? COVID has really put a lot of things into perspective for people. Like people are recognizing that life is short. People are recognizing that, listen, I'm spending all this time at work. I'm doing my best and you don't care. The employer doesn't care. And so they're resigning at like really high rates in certain industries, such as hospitality, which is the industry I am in, right? They're resigning um, in tech and in healthcare because people are burnt out and there is a shortage, right? And the employers that are smart, the employers that people want good people to work with them. That's the bottom line. Nobody wants a loser to work with them. Nobody wants a bad leader to work with them. And so this is the perfect opportunity to look and reevaluate your skills, look and reevaluate your leadership style. And even if you are on this live stream and you've been a leader for a very long time, I'm sure there is always something that we could do better. There's always something that we could do better, right? So, connection, the foundation of that is empathy, right? Putting ourselves in people's shoes, trying to understand the people on our team, the players on our team, understanding that this mom is a single mom and she has childcare issues, but she's a great performer. Are you going to jump down her throat because she has been late, every day this week? Or are you going to pull her aside and through the lens of care and empathy, talk to her and say, listen, what's going on? How can I support you? How can I help you? Right? The other element of connection is emotional intelligence. And Tweety, going back to your question, we need to develop emotional intelligence or heightened leaders of awareness of emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is really understanding how our communication, our body language, our behavior, we need to understand ourselves first, right? How we impact people, right? And how they perceive us, right? So we need to develop emotional intelligence, okay? How we communicate. So empathy, emotional intelligence, and just respect. Connection, these are the foundations of connecting with someone. That is why, going back to that example I gave previously, when you speak to somebody and you feel depth, they are connecting with you on those levels. They understand what you're saying. And you know they understand because they ask the relevant questions, right? Um, they are aware of how you perceive them. Like there are some persons, they make you comfortable because they may uh, pick up, right? Pick up your energy, as we would say, that you may be a little shy or intimidated by them. Okay. And they respect people, right? And then you want to have a genuine understanding of others or of the situation. Okay. And these are the elements of connection. And connection is important. It's an important tool in your toolbox as a leader because the job of every great leader is to serve, and you cannot serve and you cannot be of service. People are not there to do whatever to make you successful, right? You are there to support. You are there to support. That is really your role because if you think as a leader that you can do the job alone, well, go right ahead. Go right ahead and let's see what happens. Tell me what happens. Um, just think about it. If your team doesn't show up, let's see how you're going to work. People forget that. Your job is to serve, your job is to be of service to your team, to provide the resources and the support and hold people accountable because that's a part of it, right? Okay. So that you can move the needle, so that you could get the results, so that you could be a success, right? And so connection, communication is a huge part of that, but you can't have communication without the connection. Okay. No, I want to leave you with something. I want to leave you with a tool that you can use and you can start using it as quickly as tomorrow. And I want you to write it down and remember it. This is a habit that you can use. And it is really going to your team, right? And asking them, what support do you need from me right now? What support do you need from me to do your job well? That is such a powerful question. Imagine you going in to your team, just having a conversation and saying, what do you need from me? What do you need from me to be successful in your job? Right? And you might be surprised at the answer. Maybe they need more training in this aspect. Maybe they want to be challenged, but asking that, that is a tool to connect. That is a tool to connect. Asking, listening. Don't jump in, don't defend, don't explain, don't justify. Ask and listen. What do you need from me to be successful? What do you need from me to get the job done? Right? And sometimes, you might say, listen, whatever they suppose what they need, I can't do it because I have to go to somebody, then fine. You go to that person, whether it's your boss or whatever, you put forward the information and you follow up, right? And you let the person know what's going on. Just don't make it empty. But this is a powerful question to ask. It is something that you should write down. It is a tool that you should use wherever you go. Hey, Erica, wherever you go. So let me know how that turns out for you. Let me know what was the response and ask it often. Don't overdo it, but ask it often. And it is a tool to connect. All right. And so I have something else. If you haven't already, I created a guide. It's called the 6 Steps to Becoming an Influential Leader. And the link is in my bio. I think there's a link that shows up when I am on Facebook live stream. So you can click on that link, go to my website, download that guide. And if you are on Instagram, you can go to the link in my bio and download that. So I have that guide for you. I want you to be successful. This is why I do what I do. I am here as a guide and a resource, and let me know how it turns out. Share this live stream with a friend who is in a managerial role, with a friend who wants to go into a managerial role, because these are the things that will um, will help you. I'm so happy, Tweety, that I was able to understand. I understand, but I was able to help with that question. All right, and so I'll see you tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. All right, here with another topic, and have a great evening. And thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure. All right, bye.